Hiya, Georgina. Hello.
Hello. Thanks for having me on here.
You are very welcome. Thank you so much for joining the podcast today. Pleased to welcome Georgina Hodgkinson, who is founder of Ask DT, technologist and consultant. Really excited to have you here today. Thank you.
It's
Um,
great to have the invitation, Emily.
so first of all, could you introduce yourself? So explain a bit about yourself. That would be great.
So I do not come from a very traditional tech background, and I have 5 children. I'm going to put it out there. So that means I need to be more adaptable, flexible. They are older now, but obviously at the time I wanted to do what I love, but also have that flexibility around a family.
Amazing. No, that's great. And could you explain to us a bit about your business? So Ask DT, what that stands for and what that involves as well.
So after my last child was born and went back to school, I was back into work, and how was I going to do this? And I was looking very much at the career guidance, and there's not a lot out there for women returners, and it although it's getting better. And there's a fabulous book that I read, which is The Color of Your Parachute. And it is a great way to find out about where you fit. And so I joined an accelerator and started my own business. Now, that was terrifying because I'd been out of work as looking after children, and I'd only done short-term contracts. And it was like, what am I good at? And again, there's a lovely book that's called Ikigai, which is the Japanese art of happiness. And it
Ooh.
looks at what you're good at, but also what you love to do. Because at the same time, I'm very much a case of if I'm going to work and I'm going to spend time away from family responsibilities, but obviously I need to obviously have that financial income. I want to do something that I really am passionate about, and it's always been about skills, learning, knowledge, but with tech, all the way through that from my beginning of my career, back when I was working with Abbey National, and there was a big digital transformation back in the 90s. I won't go into what age.
No, yeah. So that's where it started when you started to get that passion for the skill side of things and getting, people skilled up and that learning piece. So, and that is what the business gets involved in, isn't it? That's what you were saying it gets involved in. So just to get an idea of the sort of projects that you might do, what that involves, just to get an overview, that would be amazing.
Yeah, so there's lots of different projects that I get involved with. One that I met yourself through is Code for Her. I'm very
Mm,
much about trying to get women into tech and more women staying in tech and escalating their career in tech as well, especially if they have to return or their career changes. We've got a lot of transferable skills that we've had in other industries that now are really relevant to the current state of technology.
No, that's great. Thank you. That's brilliant. And what would you say, what skills are needed in technology at the moment? From your perspective, what are you seeing as like, the trends, the demands? What technology is needed in the landscape currently?
Look, it is changing fast, isn't it? We've got loads of new sort of apps, platforms being created, and it's going to get faster.
Mm,
So the biggest skill is going to be, how do you learn?
mm,
But also, and maybe controversially, how do you unlearn what you've been doing for 20, 30 years? Because what has worked in the past, I'm not saying throw everything out,
mm.
but it's the case of we do need to unlearn some of the ways that we've been doing things in tech and really move forward with the pace that it's changing at.
So people are up to date, but is that adaptation, is it like you say, to change and a structure as to how they will, unlearn and relearn, with the new up to date technology that's out there? Um,
That's it. And
mm,
I think as well, it's and why I started Code for Her as well is no one person can know it all. And we are, tech is very much about that knowledge industry. We know what's happening so that we can help, or we can leverage that to the advantage. But no one person can know that anymore. And so it's teamwork, collaborative, and sharing of skills that I think we really need moving forward.
Yeah, to improve the efficiency of teams, work collaboratively. Yeah, excellent. What would you say is the solutions to this skills gap? You know, if there was any advice that you could give to perhaps, you know, technology team leaders as to how they're going to find a solution to the shortage of skills that are out there.
There is a skills gap, and I think we've got to be honest, as in what is a company willing to do and what they're able to do. And it's a case of getting that learning and development audit. Where is there what they've got already? And it's a case of building off of that strength. And so ask is attitude, skills, and knowledge. Maybe it's a case of you don't need all knowledge in one place, or all one type of personality. And this is where it's really doing a very in-depth skills gap analysis, but also what you've got in your company already and what you can grow, and what timescales you're willing to invest in. And I think it's being really honest, as in we would love to do that, but if you've got the pressures of projects being needed, or obviously outcome based, it's the pressure is on. So but it is, one of the things is knowing what you've got already, then looking at how do you get the right people with the right attitude that are willing to go to meetups in their own time, to learn, to discover, to play with these new technologies as well. Because I think that's what we're entering into, that nobody, even if they're spending a lot of time on this, is able to be doing lots in the skill sort of side. So it really is a case of that sharing across the team. But the skills that we really need is that communication skills.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I do see that hiring managers are starting to be a little bit more open-minded now as to who they really need to bring on, and those interpersonal skills, like you say, that communication, teamwork, to collaborate with the team, but then that ability to actually want to learn. Because if you're bringing on people that are quite resistant to change and learning, that's where you won't have a team that's going to be keeping up to date with things. So there's definitely more than just the sort of tech skill stack now, isn't there, that people need to be looking at? Because you can upskill that, can't you?
Yeah. I mean, I think this is the thing. There is a lot of learning materials out there, certifications, especially if you're looking at certain platforms. They've got their own academies, etc., that they can help you with. But it is having that initial passion that you want to learn it, that investment of time, the support around you for your team to know what's mentoring that can help you, that know that you can do this. So there is so much to this. And of course we do all want the top 1% of employees that can come in and do their magic, if you like, and to create this. But again, we've got to look at that. Not one person is going to have that at the moment.
Exactly, looking at the strengths and the capabilities. What do you think is holding people back? So why would you say perhaps teams are reluctant to some of the solutions that are out there to, learning and developing the skill sets? Why would they be reluctant to that?
Oh, that's a good question there, Emily. Let's see how your listeners are. This is not about tech. This is about people. Why do people resist change? And if you go into the psychology of this, there's a past reason that they didn't like what was implemented before. There might be a fear there, and therefore they act in a certain way. There may be a pressure of time. So when there's always the way. We would love to do things when there's no pressures, and we can be creative, when we can explore. But when it comes down to crunch, it's a case of I'll do what I know always works, and sometimes that's what
That
holds
safety
people
bubble as
back.
well, isn't it? Like it's low risk as well. You were saying when we spoke before, it's they're scared to kind of step outside because it may seem a little bit high risk.
Yeah, yeah, and
Um,
it is. We do keep to comfort zones, or sometimes people do, but
yeah.
that's where growth happens, is when
Mm.
but we do need that invitation and that support in the team to be able to do that.
Yeah, that definitely transfers into what you're doing within the Milton Keynes, technical community as well with the code for her in that you're encouraging people to learn and step out of their comfort zone. And it was yourself that got me to do the MK Women in STEM and do a bit of a presentation on the business there. So you're very good at giving people that bit of a nudge and a bit of a, go for it. Mm,
Well, it was one thing that was holding myself back. Nobody, I mean, most women generally do not want to be in front and center. It is something that they would rather maybe let somebody else do. They're not going to push themselves forward. But I've been a member of Toastmasters for since 2019, since I sort of started my business, because it is a skill you can overcome, and
mm.
you can sort of get more confident the more you do it. Efficacy, you can say, yes, I've done it for a small group, I've done little talks, and now I'm willing to do larger talks in front of 100 people, Emily.
Yeah, yeah. Oh gosh, what are you going to put me forward to next? Yeah,
There's
sounds good
always
fun.
there's always opportunities, and I think this is the thing. It's trying to be open to, when people do ask, um, can you do this? You
Mm.
want to basically say, well, yes, but I might need a little bit of support to do that.
Yeah, that support and knowing what you need to sort of challenge yourself so you can progress and learn and develop your skills. What would you say technology is all about? So this is getting has a little bit deeper as well, but
Mhm.
what for you is technology all about?
We've had these conversations, I think, in our sessions, taking away obviously the specific detail, but it's about problem solving.
Mm,
And it really is a case of, how can you do that quickly? How can you do that efficiently? And so that everybody comes along that journey with you, because you can have the best solution, but if nobody knows about it, or if nobody agrees with you, then it's not going to work. So I think that's the thing. It's there's a lot here, but it really is about solving problems that everybody agrees with the solution.
yeah, knowing what that need is. Yeah, so it's going to be utilized and it's going to be of use for people. So you are solving that problem and finding the solution to it. And about the people as well. But you like that challenge, don't you? You like that feeling of being able to solve the problem and find the solution. That really gets you going, doesn't it? That's what it's all about for you, which I really like.
Yeah, I mean,
Mm,
I think, again, it depends on, people may disagree with me, but I think tech is quite creative, because when you're solving problems, you
mm,
can be quite creative. And actually, there's no one way normally to solve a problem. So that leaves space for people to find out what works for them. And I
mm,
think we are coming into, with AI, with the way that things can scale up, more personalized solutions that works for the individual, or the smaller companies, or companies that are bespoke. And I think that's what we will come to as well.
No, that's amazing. Thank you. Any advice for sort of anyone sort of perhaps job seeking for tech careers? We've spoken about career advice perhaps being quite limited, for tech careers. But is there any advice that you can share with anyone that might be looking for work at the moment, or what to do in between work? Perhaps that would be great. Mm,
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is, what I would say is, we kind of limit ourselves without even realizing. The people that we surround ourselves with kind of expect us to be in a certain industry, and you've got to be aware that you need to sometimes look outside of that norm. So there is a great sort of method, as in, well, what's the opposite of what I've done?
That's really,
And you
yeah.
start at the other side and kind of maybe do the reverse sort of skills challenge. What can I do in this sort of way? And it may lead you to something in the middle, or it may lead you to something completely different. But I think the thing is, we kind of very quickly, as individuals and as societies, put ourselves in our own sort of what we fit. There's something that I've started with International Women's Day back sort of 4 or 5 years ago, and it was a 1 minute video of "I'm a woman in STEM because," and the thing is, because a lot of women don't necessarily see themselves in technical roles. Maybe it's because they're not coding. Maybe it's because they don't have a computer degree. Maybe it's because they're not in a tech department or a tech company. There's a plethora of reasons why they don't see themselves as tech. And it's trying to sort of say, well, there is so many different jobs out there. So knowledge, get yourself skilled up, as in what technical jobs are out there. And it really is a case of there is so many now. I think it's not limiting yourself.
I think that's a really good advice. Don't be limited and don't be blinkered, because people do tend to stay, like you say, in their bubble and of as to what's expected of them. But there's a big world out there, isn't there? And there's so much opportunity. And there's that other saying as well, the insanity, like doing the same thing again and again. I mean, we'll do something different and like perhaps be a bit more open-minded. I like that.
Yeah.
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 Mm.
There's another book that I read lots, as you probably know, Emily, but there's a book that's the 10-year career. I think we've got to move away from, we're going to have this job or a career that is the same job, even if it's in different companies. We've moved away from that. We've not got a job for life in the same company, but we don't necessarily even have the same job title that we had previously. So I think it's a case of being aware that we can also change from one job career to another, and what are the transferable skills from
What are
that.
those transferable skills? Yeah. Yeah, I have those conversations quite regularly with people looking for work, and they sometimes are quite scared about making the move. But I'll say to them, well, you're not a tree, you can move. So some people still feel very much like they can't move, but you can, and it's finding what you enjoy, like your passions and your capabilities. And what I love about what you've done is evaluate what you really enjoy doing. So yeah, I'm a firm believer that if you enjoy what you're doing, you'll be good at it because you enjoy it.
Yeah, there's a lot of people I speak to that go for very lovely jobs, don't get me wrong, and they pay very well, but because they're not happy, they end up spending a lot of time and a lot of money trying to um, get away from that. And yeah, it's not necessarily, we work a lot of hours, we're going to be working for a long time in our life, and it's
Yeah.
trying to find that balance.
Yeah, balance. Amazing. Thank you. And to finish off the podcast, could you perhaps share with us maybe when the next event is? So the next Code for Her event, where these are held, and so other people can attend if they wish to.
Well, we've got an amazing tech ecosystem in Milton Keynes, and the next Code for Her meetup, we advertise it on Meetup, is the last Tuesday of the month. So I think that's the 30th this month, or whatever. Is it? Is it?
Yes, it is, because it's the first on the Wednesday. Yeah, okay, it's
Yeah,
30th. Yeah. Mm.
yeah. And the first Tuesday of the month as well. So from 7 o'clock till 9 o'clock. Time flies, doesn't it, Emily? By
Oh,
the
it
time
does. It
you've
goes
had
really quick.
a little bit of networking, finding out what people are working on, and a talk maybe, and working on some projects, the 2 hours just flies by. And that's based in Milton Keynes, and we're supported fantastically by the company Amy, that do
Mm.
so much for the community in Milton Keynes. And yeah, they're in 100 Avery Place in Milton Keynes.
Right in central Milton Keynes. Yeah, no, it's a
Yeah.
fantastic event, and yeah, which you've founded, and I've really enjoyed attending those and getting to know, more people within the Milton Keynes area, and that learning aspect. I personally really have enjoyed learning. It's been a big part of the development that I've been doing myself. So thank you. Yeah.
Very welcome. And I think this is it. It's the community. It's about gathering people together and learning from each other. No one person can hold it all. And it's brilliant that you formed friendships and obviously
Oh my gosh,
colleagues
so
out
many
of this
people
as
that I've
well.
connected with, so many different people just from one event that, I've met up with for coffees, and that, other people that have joined the podcast, other people that are looking for work, potential new customers. It's just been great. So you really have been a big part of that networking piece for me. So thank you. And thank you for joining the podcast. I really appreciate you joining us today, and hopefully I'll see you soon.
Yeah. Thank you, Emily, and best of luck. Take
Yeah.
care.
Thank you, you too. Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.